I stopped eating one specific thing after I turned 60, and let me tell you, within just 6 weeks, my energy came flooding back. My joint pain melted away. My mind felt sharper than it had in years. And guess what? I'm not the only one. Over my 40 years as a doctor, I've watched so many of my patients, especially women, completely transform their health by cutting out this one food after 60. It's something most of us eat every single day. Something we've been told is good for us. Something our doctors have never even suggested we avoid. But here's the thing. Jewish families have known for thousands of years that after a certain age, this food stops nourishing us and starts aging us instead. So today, I want to share with you exactly what it is, why it matters so much more after 60 than at any other time in our lives, and, most importantly, what we should be eating instead. Now, before I go any further, let me be clear. I'm a physician, but I'm not your physician. Nothing I say today is medical advice for your unique situation. Always, always check with your own doctor before making any changes to your diet or health routine. What I'm sharing is based on education, my own observations, and the wisdom I've gathered over 4 decades of working with women just like you. Let me take you back to a Tuesday afternoon in my office about 8 years ago. A woman came in to see me. She was 63, and she had done everything right. She walked every morning, took her medications as prescribed, and ate what she thought was a balanced diet: whole grains, lean proteins, plenty of veggies. But when she sat down across from me, she looked exhausted. Her joints ached. She couldn't sleep through the night. Her stomach was bloated most days. She told me, with tears in her eyes, that she felt like her body was giving up on her. I ran all the tests. Everything came back normal. Her thyroid was fine, her blood sugar was fine, her cholesterol was under control. On paper, she was the picture of health. But in reality, she was suffering. And here's the heartbreaking part. I've seen this so many times. Women over 60 doing everything their doctors recommend, eating the right foods, taking their meds, staying active, and yet they're still tired, still in pain, still losing their strength and their clarity. For years I asked myself, why? Why were some of my patients thriving well into their 80s and 90s, while others were struggling by 65? Then I started noticing a pattern. The women who aged beautifully, the ones who stayed sharp, energetic, and full of life, had something in common. So many of them came from Jewish families, families who had held on to certain dietary traditions for generations, not because of some new fad or scientific study, but because of ancient wisdom that had been passed down for 3,000 years. When I dug deeper, when I started looking at the research coming out of places like the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, I found something incredible. Ashkenazi Jewish communities have some of the highest numbers of healthy centenarians in the world, women and men living past 100 with their minds sharp, their bodies strong, and their spirits unbroken. And here's the kicker. It's not just genetics. Dr. Nir Barzilai, one of the top researchers in longevity, has spent decades studying these communities, and what he's found is that while genetics do play a role, lifestyle, and especially diet, are just as important. In fact, what we eat and when we eat it after 60 can determine whether we thrive or decline. So today, I want to share with you 3 principles that these long-lived families have practiced for centuries. 3 things that modern science is only now starting to catch up to. And I'm going to tell you exactly how you can start applying them in your own life tonight. Principle number 1, wheat after 60 is not your friend. Here's the truth. After 60, our bodies just can't process wheat the way they used to. And I'm not just talking about gluten intolerance or celiac disease. I'm talking about something bigger, something that affects almost all of us after a certain age, whether we realize it or not. Let me tell you what I've seen in my practice. When I started asking my healthiest patients over 70 what they ate, I noticed something fascinating. Almost none of them ate bread every day. Almost none of them ate pasta or baked goods regularly. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. But then I started asking my patients who were struggling, the ones with inflammation, joint pain, brain fog, and digestive issues. And do you know what almost all of them had in common? They were eating wheat every single day. Toast for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, pasta for dinner, crackers for a snack. They'd been told that whole grains were healthy, and for younger people they can be. But after 60, something changes. Our digestive systems slow down. Our gut lining becomes more permeable. Our microbiome shifts. And wheat, especially modern wheat, becomes harder and harder for our bodies to break down. It sits in our guts and ferments. It triggers low-grade inflammation. It spikes our blood sugar more than we realize. And over time, that chronic inflammation speeds up aging in every part of our bodies, our joints, our brains, our hearts, even our skin. Now, here's where that Jewish wisdom comes in. In traditional Jewish dietary laws, there are very specific rules about bread. It's treated with respect, yes, but it's also eaten sparingly and with intention. During Passover, observant Jews eliminate all leavened bread for 8 days. They eat only matzah, unleavened bread, which is simpler and easier to digest. This isn't just a religious tradition, it's a physiological reset. A week without those heavy fermented grains that weigh down our digestive systems, and so many Jewish women I know, especially the older ones, tell me they feel lighter and clearer during Passover. Their digestion improves, their energy stabilizes. I've had patients tell me they wish they could feel that way all year long. And here's the good news. You can. Because the principle behind Passover isn't religious, it's biological. Our bodies, especially after 60, thrive when we cut back on the foods that inflame and burden us. And wheat? It's at the very top of that list. The science backs this up, too. A study in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults who reduced their intake of refined grains had significantly lower inflammatory markers, better insulin sensitivity, and improved cognitive function. Another study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that people over 60 who followed a low-grain diet had lower levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation in the body. And here's the thing we all need to understand. Inflammation is at the root of almost every age-related disease: heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and wheat, especially modern hybridized wheat, is one of the most inflammatory foods we can eat after 60. So what can we do about it? You don't have to give up grains forever. But here's what I tell my patients. For the next 30 days, eliminate wheat completely. No bread, no pasta, no crackers, no baked goods. Replace them with vegetables, legumes, rice, if it agrees with you, potatoes, quinoa. Eat real food and just watch what happens. I've seen women lose joint pain they thought they'd have to live with forever. I've seen brain fog disappear. I've seen energy levels soar. One of my patients, a 67-year-old woman, told me that after just 4 weeks without wheat, she felt like she'd gotten 10 years of her life back. She was sleeping better. Her knees stopped aching. She could think clearly again. She looked at me and said, "Doctor, why didn't anyone tell me this before?" And I told her the truth. Because most doctors aren't looking at food this way. They're focused on cholesterol and blood pressure. They're not asking, "What did you eat for breakfast?" But I am, and I'm telling you, after 60, wheat is not doing us any favors. Principle number 2, it's not just what you eat, it's when. Here's something else I've learned. It's not just what we eat that matters, it's when we eat it. And this is another area where Jewish tradition has been way ahead of modern medicine. Let me tell you about another patient of mine. She was 71, and she came to me complaining of brain fog. She couldn't remember names. She felt sluggish all day long. And even though she was eating less, she was gaining weight. When I asked her about her eating habits, she told me she was grazing all day long. Breakfast at 6 yai, a snack at 9 yai, lunch at noon, another snack at 3 yai, dinner at 6 yai, and then another snack at 9 yai. She was never giving her body a break. Her insulin was constantly elevated. Her digestive system was always working. Her cells never had a chance to repair themselves. And this, my friends, is one of the biggest mistakes I see women over 60 making. We're eating constantly, and it's slowly draining our health. In Jewish tradition, there's a natural rhythm to eating. On Shabbat, the Sabbath, observant families eat 3 meals within a specific window of time: Friday night dinner, Saturday lunch, a 3rd meal in the late afternoon, and then nothing until the next morning. This creates a natural fasting period of 12 to 14 hours. It's not called fasting, it's just the rhythm of the day, but the effects? Profound. Our bodies get time to rest, our insulin levels drop. Our cells activate a process called autophagy, where they clean out damaged components and regenerate. This is how our bodies heal themselves, but it can only happen when we stop eating. And the science? It's catching up. A study in cell metabolism found that time-restricted eating, where you eat all your meals within an 8 to 10 hour window, improved metabolic health, reduced inflammation, and even extended lifespan in animal studies. In humans, research has shown that intermittent fasting improves insulin sensitivity, supports brain health, and lowers the risk of age-related diseases. Dr. Walter Longo, one of the leading longevity researchers, has shown that fasting-mimicking diets can actually regenerate cells and extend our health span, the period of our lives where we're truly healthy and vibrant. Our bodies are designed to go through periods of eating and periods of fasting. But in our modern lives, we eat constantly. And after 60, our metabolisms just can't handle that. Our insulin stays high, our bodies stay in storage mode. We never burn fat, we never activate repair, and we age faster because of it. So here's what I tell my patients: stop eating after 7 p.m. Don't eat again until 7 the next morning. That's 12 hours. If you can stretch it to 14, even better. Eat all your meals within an 8 to 10 hour window: breakfast at 8, lunch at noon, dinner at 5 or 6, and nothing after that. No snacks, no late-night eating, just water, herbal tea, or black coffee if you need it. This one change can transform your health. I've seen it reverse prediabetes. I've seen it improve sleep. I've seen women lose that stubborn weight they've been struggling with for years. One of my patients, a 68-year-old woman, started eating this way, and within just 2 months, her fasting blood sugar dropped 20 points. Her doctor reduced her medication. She told me she had more energy at 68 than she did at 60. This isn't a diet, ladies. It's a rhythm our bodies are designed for, a rhythm that Jewish families have practiced for thousands of years, and a rhythm that science is now telling us is one of the most powerful tools for longevity. Principle number 3. After 60, we need more fat, not less now. This is the principle that surprises women the most. And honestly, I think it's the one that can make the biggest difference in how we feel. After 60, we need to eat more fat, not less. I know what you're thinking. For decades, we've been told that fat is the enemy. That fat clogs our arteries. That fat makes us fat. And so many of us over 60 have been eating low-fat diets. We eat skinless chicken breast. We avoid butter. We use margarine. We drink skim milk. And then we wonder, why do we feel so tired? Why is our skin so dry? Why is our memory fading? Why are our hormones out of whack? Here's the answer: because our bodies need fat. Our brains are 60% fat. Every single cell membrane in our bodies is made of fat. Our hormones are built from fat. Vitamins A, D, E, and K cannot be absorbed without fat. And after 60, when our bodies are under more oxidative stress, when our cells are working harder to repair themselves, we need fat more than ever. But not just any fat, the right kinds of fat. Let me tell you what I've seen in my practice. The healthiest, sharpest women I know over 80, they all eat fat, real fat, butter, olive oil, eggs, fatty fish, avocados, nuts. They don't fear it. They enjoy it. And their bodies? They thrive on it. In traditional Jewish cooking, fat is central. Schmaltz, rendered chicken fat, was used for generations. It was spread on bread, used to cook vegetables, stirred into soups. Fatty fish like herring and salmon were staples. Eggs were eaten regularly. These weren't indulgences. They were necessities because people understood intuitively that fat gives us energy, satisfaction, and nourishment in a way that low-fat foods just can't. And guess what? Modern science has completely backed this up. Study after study has shown that healthy fats do not cause heart disease. In fact, they protect against it. A study in The Lancet followed over 135,000 people across 18 countries and found that those who ate higher amounts of fat, including saturated fat, had lower rates of death and stroke than those on low-fat diets. Another study in the New England Journal of Medicine showed that a Mediterranean diet rich in olive oil reduced the risk of heart attack and stroke by 30%. And research on omega-3 fatty acids from fish has proven that they reduce inflammation, support brain health, and protect against cognitive decline. But here's what most doctors won't tell you. After 60, if you're eating a low-fat diet, you're starving your brain. You're depriving your cells of the building blocks they need to repair themselves. You're making it harder for your body to absorb the nutrients from all those healthy veggies you're eating. I had a patient, a 72-year-old woman, who came to me with memory problems. She was terrified of Alzheimer's. I asked her what she ate. She told me oatmeal with skim milk for breakfast, a salad with fat-free dressing for lunch, skinless chicken breast, and steamed vegetables for dinner. She was eating almost no fat at all. I told her to add fat back into her diet. Real butter on her vegetables, olive oil on her salad, eggs for breakfast, salmon twice a week, nuts for snacks. She was hesitant. She'd been taught her whole life that fat was dangerous, but she trusted me, and within 6 weeks she came back to my office almost in tears. She said her memory had improved, her energy was back, her skin looked better. She felt like herself again. She looked at me and said, "Doctor, I feel like I've been starving, and I didn't even know it." And I told her, "You were. Your brain was starving." Ladies, this is one of the most important things I can tell you. After 60, do not fear fat. Fear the absence of it. Eat butter from grass-fed cows, drizzle olive oil on everything, eat eggs. Enjoy fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. Eat avocados. Snack on nuts and seeds. These foods will nourish you in ways that low-fat, processed foods never will. And if you've been told that saturated fat will kill you, I want you to hear this. The research does not support that. What does harm us is sugar. What does harm us is processed food. What does harm us is the chronic inflammation that comes from eating the wrong foods at the wrong times. Real fat from whole foods, that's medicine. The choice is yours, ladies. So now you have it. 3 principles. 3 ancient practices that Jewish families have followed for generations and that modern science is finally confirming. After 60, stop eating wheat. Eat within a narrow window of time each day. Eat more healthy fat, not less. These aren't complicated. They're not expensive. They don't require a prescription. But they do require a decision, a commitment to yourself. I've been a doctor for over 40 years. I've worked with thousands of women, and I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The women who make small, consistent changes to the way they eat are the ones who thrive. They're the ones who stay sharp into their 80s. They're the ones who avoid the nursing home. They're the ones who stay independent, active, and full of life. You were not meant to spend your 60s and 70s in decline. You were not meant to lose your memory, your energy, or your strength. Your body is capable of healing. Your brain is capable of clarity. But you have to give it what it needs, and you have to stop giving it what hurts it. I think about the women I grew up with, the Jewish grandmothers and great-aunts in my community who lived long, strong lives. They didn't have access to the medical technology we have today. They didn't have MRI machines or the latest cholesterol drugs, but they had wisdom, they had rhythms, they had a deep respect for food and for their bodies. And that wisdom, it kept them well. It can keep you well, too. If what I've shared today has resonated with you, I want to hear from you. Write in the comments, "I'm choosing to live longer and better." Because that choice, that commitment, it's the first step. And if you know another woman over 60 who's struggling with her health, share this with her. One conversation can change the entire course of someone's life. There's an old teaching in Jewish tradition that says the body is a vessel, a gift, and it's our responsibility to care for it, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who depends on us, our children, our grandchildren, the people who love us and need us here. That responsibility, it starts today, not tomorrow. Today.